Look at that. I got one bed done already. I'll record doing this second bed in the middle here, how I'm setting it up. The first thing I'm doing is I'm taking a shovel and loosening the soil up a little bit because I've been in here walking around doing all this composting. Just opening up the soil just a tiny bit, and then when I put the bed over the top of it, some of these roots, like I'm planting carrots, they're going to be able to get down into the loose in the soil. So I guess the first thing to do is get these props out of the way. Won't need this old tarp now until next year. I'm sticking it underneath the apricot tree over here. So when I do this with the shovel, I'm just walking backwards. It doesn't have to be exactly perfectly aligned. Last year I actually dug a trench, and that ended up being my walkway. But I don't think I have to do that. That was just kind of like an impulse thing that I did. I think that I could probably make it a little wider. There's some gravel in the yard here. Even this soil, after being compacted, and I've probably taken a good foot out of here already, because every time I compost it just makes the soil better down below. It's still that good. When I dug the holes out for these posts here for the tomato trellis, it's probably a foot deep, the topsoil was. When we bought this land, it was a wore out old farm field back here. See, I don't think some places had even a half an inch of topsoil. Now we're off the charts. Last year I only had 2 beds in this spot. I had one large one and one small one. There's a stump there from an old peach tree. This year I'm going to do 3 beds. And I'm going to arrange things a little bit better in terms of having enough sunlight for the plants in August and September. Last year I was a little bit shaded out. So now you'll be able to notice how hot the compost still is. See that? It's still steaming. Probably can't see it with the sunlight. You know, I should probably do something with that last year's compost first. Let me think. Well, I can get through it with a wheelbarrow. Anyway, so I'm just going to keep on trucking. I'm going to have way more than I need for this setup here. I'm going to have to do more sifting. That'll be interesting to find out if this is a cluster of lily roots. Find out if that comes back to life. I doubt it. I'm getting all wore out already. It's going to be nice to take a nice long break. I'm almost done getting everything planted. Another week tops. Of course, I have all kinds of other little projects I can do, but I gotta take a break. I gotta go fishing or something. That's one thing about doing this compost. You find all kinds of little plastics and things as you're going through all this material. There. I think that'll hold together. What we're counting on is what's called the angle of compost repose. I coined that phrase. Of course, I didn't coin the phrase angle of repose, but I did add compost to it. It's a Rick Larson original. See, I can do something original. I think once you participate in permaculture design course, you start to think about all these things. And you can come up with little sayings of your own. Once you participate in one of those courses, you're more insightful than all these college people, all these college degree people are. Easily more insightful than them, because they're just taught a very limited amount of sciences right now. You know, real sciences that affect their lives every day. They're primarily being taught, you know, how to survive in the corporate world. And that doesn't have a lot of life left in it anymore. The corporate world has been living off of the wholesale auctioning off of life on Earth, or what actually produces life on Earth. That might be a better way to say it. And they're running out of material. to auction off. So all those jobs that they're training these kids to do aren't going to be there. Well, I got a lot of stuff here. I guess I do have room to work it behind me, and let's see just how much, what happens. At the end, if I have too much, I'll sip some more. I gotta think about this a little bit. Should we even make a path on the inside? Yeah, I guess we better, because we have the peppers and stuff growing in there. So what we'll do is we'll dig out that path, and that'll lengthen the bed on the other side. Because I only want a narrow walking path in the center. I want to use as much of this space as possible to grow. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Look at that. Still a little rough up. Still a little sharpening up to do here yet. We'll finish that up and call it a day. At least for this. It's a busy time of the year, so I can't just call it a day forever. You gotta keep planting. Soon we'll be out enjoying the fishing grounds. Just got to get this established. Plus I'm adding new features to my permaculture design as I go, so that's all extra work that when I'm old, like in my 80s, it'll all be here, and all I have to do is plant. You know, there's so much compost in my soil. I mean, I already do now. I won't even have to make compost anymore if my health doesn't allow it. We'll see. The idea is that perhaps your health stays very good right up to the end if you're doing this work and eating this food. That's the idea. But there's so many variables, you never know. This is the 2020 final result of our 2020 aerobic compost heap. We transitioned our composting area into a growing area. And just in time, it's June 1st tomorrow, and we have most all our growing season sitting in front of us. So I plan on growing tomatoes over here where the trellis is. Beyond that, there's already a bed that was established last year. That's growing skirret, squash, and beans. I believe all of that. And then this next one is going to be onions and tomatoes. That's the one with the trellis. This center bed, we're going to be growing leeks and carrots with a little bit of onions. And this last bed, we're going to be growing kohlrabi, celeriac, and onions. So that's what I got planned. Who knows what my brain will think a week from now, though. All right. Yeah. I wonder if any of those Zaytuna staff have been tuning in. If so, what do you think of that? All right. Stay tuned for the next episode of As the Compost Turns, starting 2021.